Good morning and welcome to the new edition of Better Thyself. Each one of us desires to be successful. But what is success? If I could just use the words of Justin Pilate about truth, that would be bitter. Justin Pilate asked, "What is truth?" But he would not stay for the answer. The same is true of success. What used to be deemed a success is not a success. You used to think that to be successful is a time when you have reached your goal and you are contented with yourself. That's not true today. Whether you recognize it or you don't recognize it, the fact of the matter is that we are living in a different world. The culture of the world today is that is shame culture. We feel ashamed, and ultimate success today depends on the opinion of the society and opinion of others, which should not be there, but it is there. If we feel relished and praised by our peers, then we assume that we are doing well. And if our efforts are overlooked, then we must be failing. This instant and incessant, unending need to win approval takes a negative toll of our self-esteem. As I said, we are living in a shame culture. And shame culture is something very hard. In this culture, the basic aspects are that people are careful about choosing their words. They are always afraid that they might violate a social norm. They think incorrectly and become victims of verbal flogging by their colleagues, their peers, and even strangers. And in this moral uproar, you must give your opinion and become a target of ridicule for not caring. Social media has become much too important, and the question is how many likes you have. Well, natural leaders within these groups talk of the moral tones, but not everybody. And one thing more, social media is most unforgiving. It's unforgiving to those who don't know fit in, and people demand utmost respect. So in such an atmosphere, winning it all could mean losing yourself. The sentimental blast about winning isn't everything. Everybody used to say, well, if you win doesn't matter, it's not everything. Still rings true. But it is even more true today than it ever was. You might be an embodiment of honesty and integrity. But in case you are not politically correct, you are not successful. So you have got to track your success. And while tracking, you get that tunnel vision. Your goals are all that matter to you. And failure is not an option. So how to win at winning? That's a major question. The million-dollar question that each one of us faces is that we are successful, we win, and yet we are not winning. This paradigm of not winning when you are winning all over is quite paradoxical. Now, how to win at winning? How to ensure that winning guarantees success? Don't get me wrong. You have to feed your passions and nurture your ambition. That's a fact. There's nothing wrong with that. The only thing is the presentation. Are you able to present your view to the clutter of the people who may not understand anything, but still they matter? So first thing is, don't force things. Let things take natural course. You need to consider outstanding circumstances. Yes, quite possible your friends from the school have started their own business. Their parents might have given them a loan to get them started, and you haven't got that. Don't forget that you have to be on your own journey while keeping a calm, poised face. You have got to look for the more opportunities. And don't forget, it just make more opportunities for mistakes. Make a mistake, say yes, you have committed a mistake, and move on. Don't dawdle. Whatever the criticism may be, whatever opprobrium may be, just move on. It's very rarely that some people are good at everything. Very rare. As I said the other day, you can count them on your fingertips. So don't try to be good at everything, but exceptions are always there who are good at everything. Try to be good at most of the things. And say you want to work remotely. You look into your computer programming and take a few courses and start working. Now, since you have chosen to work remotely, does not mean that you can also be a social being at the same time. You can have networking the way you used to have networking. So, the whole perspective would change. You see, the biggest problem with us is that we do not have the big picture in mind and we focus on one thing. Most important thing to be really successful is definitely focus on small things, but always keep the big picture in mind. Each small thing should be a part of the big picture. You cannot achieve or attain the ultimate success that encompasses that picture until and unless you take small steps. But the end, the target is always to be kept in mind. Consider these things, and then you would understand what it is. Imagine, have you ever pushed your limits? Human beings have a great capability of going much beyond your limits. Do not compare yourself to others. I have my own strengths, but I might have my own weakness as well. I'm using the word might. Because if I was aware of my weakness, then they would not be weaknesses. I'll be trying to remove them. And sometimes I purposely may not remove those weaknesses because I use those weaknesses as my strength. So you have got to know your weakness and your strength. Conduct a SWOT analysis. Exploit your strengths. And if you are aware of your weakness, try to remove. Much more important than that is when you set a target. Set a target which is much higher than you can ever imagine it to be. It will prompt you to work harder. It will prompt you to take much more decisive action. If the target is not high, it might be easy to achieve it. And once you achieve a target easily, you develop a lethargic attitude. That attitude benumbs your capabilities and your faculties. You see, normally I hear the old people saying, learn from history, see the mistakes of your friends, learn from them. That's stupid. Make mistakes. The more mistakes you make, the more you will learn. And life itself is the best teacher. Learning from the examples of others is meant for those people who are not really authentic. I suppose you recollect my talk on the need and the importance of being authentic. And that is what is important. You have got to be authentic, and you cannot be authentic in case you are copying others, emulating others. Okay, in some areas I can accept it and I find it useful. But copying others? Now, you would say that I'm using those two words for the same meaning. No, they are not the same. Copying is following somebody blindly, trying to incorporate it. Emulating is following a person's capabilities and the methods, but the targets are yours. And the way to reach target is yours. And by emulation, you are just copying the strategy, not the whole thing. So make more mistakes and learn from your mistakes, not from the mistake of your uncle and aunt and grandfather and grandmother, not from the mistake that you have read, until they are authentic. For example, I'll give you an example. We know that Russia has been the graveyard of all the ambitious military people. The first graveyard historically is that of the Napoleon Bonaparte. He would have been the conqueror of the world had he not been stupid enough to invade Russia. The same mistake was committed by Hitler. If he had attacked England instead of attacking Russia, he would have been the lord of the world. At least the indications were there. But they didn't learn. Now, learning was a process because these were the authentic examples. But then they were in a perspective of the climate and the military needs and the military non-acclimatized to that climate. So there was a relevance. And that is why I'm called emulating, not copying. If it was copying, then they were okay. So you have got to emulate, but make more mistakes. I'm not one of them who will tell you, don't make mistakes. If you don't make mistakes, you might be a bit below average person, but you will not even be an average person, not an average human being. So you have got to learn that. And one thing more, which is very important, is this shame culture. You have got to deal with the shame culture in your own manner. I would deal with it that what I think is proper, and if the others like, I appreciate and welcome it. If the others have a valid, reasonable, logical objection to my stand, I'll try to argue. But then I set the limits. Because ultimately, my statement, my action is to judge me. I would not let the shame culture to impact my integrity and my approach. And that integrity, in fact, enables me to stand apart. You know, members of any group, any clique, any squad, they praise the members of others, and they do not praise you only because you have done something wrong, right? But they also praise you so that you might praise them in return. You scratch my back, I scratch your back. And that's not winning. Now, that's a point I wanted to make. That's not being successful. That's a compromise. Do not compromise on the major issues. You need to commend and compliment, but you have got to be honest. Again, come back to the same thing. Be authentic. And no person can ever, always not win. Winning is normal. You have just got to gear up for that. And once you win, then you make that win into success. Now, there's a very fine difference between winning and being successful. Winning is in the eyes of the others. Successful is being winning in your own eyes. So that is a matter of self-satisfaction, successful. When you are successful, you have a sense of achievement. When you are winning, you have a sense of exaltation and this feeling that others are envious of you. So try to win, but much more important is be successful, and you can be successful all the time provided you know how to win, how to make mistakes. Try to find opportunities so that you can make mistakes. Be good at lot many things. Keep a great picture, but work in pieces. Push your own limits. Push them beyond endurance. Dare the gods. If you have got the courage to dare gods, then you are really successful. And this concept of daring the gods, is making your win be transformed into success. Thank you.